Yes, good morning, Ajay. Clear? Fine. So what we discussed in the last class, Cannizzaro reaction, and some. Today we will complete the components. Okay. So we have a few set of reactions named Cannizzaro, Haloform reaction, and Wittig reaction. We will try to complete these three reactions with mechanisms. Cannizzaro reaction. So this reaction will be shown only by aldehydes. So aldehydes which do not have not only especially aldehydes but majorly by aldehydes. You can write carbonyls as well, but very few ketones will tend to show this kind of reaction. Why ketones are not that reactive towards this reaction? We'll look into it with the mechanism. So aldehydes which do not have alpha hydrogens will undergo self-oxidation and self-reduction to produce acids and alcohols respectively. Acids and alcohols respectively. And this reaction as a whole is nothing but a oxidation reaction, which we can also call it as a disproportionation reaction. Disproportionation reaction. What is when you have taken two molecules of aldehyde named formaldehyde with C double bond of H. Why we are taking formaldehyde? Because it's the simplest aldehyde which do not have alpha hydrogens. That is why we have chosen this. And what we need to do in the presence of OH minus, we mentioned that aldehydes which do not have alpha hydrogens will undergo self-oxidation and self-reduction in the presence of alkali. In the presence of alkali, write that. Yesterday you have written that, right? In the presence of OH minus. In the presence of OH minus. In the presence of OH minus, we undergo HC double bond O minus. We take NaOH, Na plus HCOH, H and H. This was an acid, or you can get sodium formate. Okay, salt of an acid is a methyl alcohol. It was an alcohol. So this reaction as a whole is a oxidation as well as reduction reaction. Oxidation as well as reduction reaction. So we all need to look into the mechanism part. Mechanism is very important. Very important since you need to understand what type of products will be formed if we are going to change the substrates. If I change the substrate, then what type of product I may expect. That should be clear to you. So first what happens, HC double bond of H, as we have taken two similar aldehydes, so we don't have any problem. So first molecule of aldehyde will react with OH minus. If we have taken, instead of two similar molecules, if we have taken two different aldehydes, then you need to decide which molecule will react initially with OH minus. That is the criteria. So no. But in our simplest case, we have taken two similar molecules. So no such criteria, both are same. So any one molecule can react with OH minus. What happens if a particular carbonyl compound reacts with OH minus? OH minus is a negatively charged species. We call it as electrophile. We call it as nucleophile. Yes or no? So this nucleophile tries to attack the electrophilic center. Which is the electrophilic center? The carbon group CO minus and carbon positive. So this OH minus acts as a nucleophile. The nucleophilic attack occurs at the electrophilic carbon. As a result, you will generate HCO minus. OH will be present here. H would be as it is. H would be as it is. So oxygen now has a negative charge, but we all know C double bond group is the strongest group because it has a pi bond. So this negative charge comes into forming a pi bond. As soon as it comes into some group should leave. What is the leaving group here? Loss of H occurs. It is the most important step. Plus H minus. It is not H plus because this negative charge is coming, so H minus should leave. It should be positive in charge. Carbon should be positive in charge. Then only negative charge comes into. So H minus should be leave. H minus, what it is? Hydride ion. Write on this. Everyone note on this. Hydride ion leaves. Plus H minus, or in the bracket you write hydride ion. Hydride ion is a negatively charged species. Okay, we generate our acid HCl plus hydride ion. This hydride ion, which is generated in the first step, acts as a nucleophile for the second step again. What was the second step? We have another molecule of formaldehyde. Now this will be reacted with H minus, that is hydride ion. H minus will now act as a nucleophile. If it is a nucleophile, we have an aldehyde. Aldehyde has C double bond group. C double bond group has electrophilic carbon. So H minus will now attack this electrophilic carbon. Will now attack this electrophilic carbon. Again, the pi electron moves towards oxygen because oxygen is more negative. We have delta negative, delta positive. HCO minus, H and H. H and H. So now this O minus will easily pick up the proton from. So what is the product of first step? It was an acid, right? HC double bond OH, formic acid. So this OH will have O minus H plus. So this methoxide will take up this H plus and form HCOH, H and H, which is nothing but CH3OH. If you look at this, it is nothing but CH3OH plus H3 double bond O minus. This O minus will simply take the Na plus. This O minus will simply take the Na plus. This was our alcohol. If you look at the product, this was our alcohol and this was our acid. Alcohol and the acid. Understood the mechanism? Mechanism is very simple. Simply nucleophile is attacking the electrophilic carbon of carbon group. That is clear. But what is a nucleophile? Initially we have alkaline medium. Alkaline medium in the sense we have OH minus ion concentration. So the OH minus ion, which is negatively charged, will now try to attack the positively charged electrophilic carbon. So we will get the respective acid. As soon as this acid is generated, how it is generated? With the loss of hydride ion. Now the hydride ion attacks the electrophilic carbon of another aldehyde, which generates the alcohol. So here we have not one nucleophile, we have two nucleophiles. Due to the presence of OH minus or base, we have generated H minus, which is hydride ion, which is also a nucleophile. Yes or no? And there are two molecules of aldehydes used in nucleophilic attack. There are two molecules of aldehyde which are used in the nucleophilic attack. So this reaction is known as Cannizzaro reaction. So this suits, this is the mechanism. This is the mechanism of Cannizzaro reaction. Cannizzaro reaction, and important conclusion is, the most important conclusion. What's the important conclusion? Aldehydes which do not have alpha hydrogens will undergo this reaction. Will undergo this reaction. Right on this, everyone. So now the question is, if aldehyde has an alpha hydrogen, then what reaction will undergo? Now the question to you, if aldehydes have alpha hydrogen, then what reaction will undergo? Yes, aldol. We have seen the aldol condensation. Okay. So if the aldehyde has alpha hydrogen, so of course the removal of alpha hydrogen is quite simple when compared to removal of hydride ion. CH bond is quite strong, so the removal of hydride ion is difficult when compared to the removal of hydrogen from alpha carbon. Removal of hydrogen from alpha carbon. So if you take an aldehyde which has alpha hydrogens, then it will undergo aldol condensation and it will never undergo Cannizzaro reaction. So the must and should condition is aldehyde which do not have alpha hydrogens will undergo this reaction, and if aldehydes have alpha hydrogens, they will undergo aldol. Why not Cannizzaro? Means removal of hydrogen from the alpha carbon is relatively simple when compared to the removal of hydride ion. Here there is no chance to this reaction proceeds in this fashion. Better this. So now what else? You know the mechanism. So we don't want to wait again. So we'll look at different examples. We can look at different examples. First, you note down this. So now, can anyone say what will be the rate of this reaction? Rate in the sense order. Rate from the rate law you can find the order of the reaction, right? What could be the order of reaction? Can anyone say that? Noted. Noted or not? Yes, good. So that is the top part. So if you look at the mechanism part, of course, we have already discussed that in chemical kinetics, order of a reaction is not a theoretical value. It should be determined experimentally. Of course, that is fine. But from the reaction mechanism, we can have an idea regarding the order of the reaction. Yes or no? The slowest step will also give us a rate determining step. We can also say the slowest step of the reaction mechanism is a rate determining step. But if you look at the mechanism of this reaction, so the rate should depend on the first molecule of aldehyde, because the first molecule is reacting with OH minus. Yes or no? The first molecule of aldehyde that is reacting with OH minus, that is a nucleophile. Yes or no? So the rate should depend on aldehyde concentration as well as nucleophile concentration in the first step. If you understand this mechanism, if you are trying to write the rate of the reaction, rate should depend on this aldehyde concentration as well as this OH minus ion concentration. Okay. And similarly, in the second step, rate should depend on the second molecule of aldehyde, but it should not depend on the H minus, because you have already taken into account the OH minus and concentration. Whatever the concentration of OH minus, that much H minus will be generated. Are you getting this or not? If you include OH minus ion concentration in the first step, there is no necessity to include H minus ion concentration. So OH minus ion concentration indirectly represents the H minus ion concentration. Yes or no? More amount of OH minus, more H minus will be generated because the attack will be more and more. So rate depends on the first molecule of aldehyde, the OH minus ion concentration, and the second molecule as well, because we require the second molecule for the H minus to attack. Yes or no? So rate depends upon, rate is proportional to aldehyde, concentration of aldehyde whole square, because two molecules are different. The first molecule is treating with OH minus, whereas the second molecule is treating with H minus. We cannot say rate is proportional to aldehyde whole power 1, because both the aldehyde molecules are not reacting with the same nucleophile. They are treating with the different nucleophiles. The OH minus ion nucleophile is attacking the first molecule, the H minus ion attacking the second molecule. So rate should depend on concentration of both the aldehydes, but only on the concentration of OH minus, not on the H minus ion concentration, because OH minus ion concentration will generate H minus. So if you include OH minus, there is no necessity to include H minus. Yes or no? So rate must be proportional to concentration of aldehyde whole square into concentration of OH minus, or you can say nucleophile or base, whatever you can write. You can simply write base. So instead of NaOH, if you take another base, then also you can, it was a generalized equation. So whenever there is a proportionality, we all know we want to have an equation. When you are writing a mathematical equation, that equation should always be true in terms of magnitude as well as units. Yes or no? So to remove the proportionality, we always try to introduce a constant k. That is also known as rate constant. So rate is equals to k into concentration of aldehyde square into concentration of base. So what would be the order of this reaction? Order of this reaction would be 2 plus 1. Yes or no? 2 moles of aldehyde, 1 mole of base. So order of this reaction should be 3. Is it clear? The order calculation. Is it clear or not? The order of this reaction is 3 because the aldehyde molecules, the two aldehyde molecules are different. They are not the same. Because one aldehyde molecule is reacting with the OH minus ion nucleophile, whereas the second aldehyde is reacting with the H minus ion nucleophile. H minus or hydride ion. Okay, they are different. So rate should depend on both concentration of aldehydes in the first step and second step. So to represent that, we'll add a square here and concentration of the base. So order is equal to 2 plus 1. That would be 3. Okay. So examples. We start with benzaldehyde, C double bond of H. So does benzaldehyde has a alpha hydrogen? No, because here there is no hydrogen. This group, this C double bond is not attached with any alkyl on the right side. It is directly attached with hydrogen. On the left side, it is attached with the phenyl group. In the phenyl group also, we do not have any alpha hydrogen attached with C double bond. No hydrogen here. No hydrogen here. So when you are trying to treat this molecule of benzaldehyde with OH minus, what will be your expectation? You will expect an acid as well as an alcohol, oxidation and reduction. So you can simply write the product like this. C double bond O minus Na plus CH2OH. So That was an aldehyde. This is an acid. Do the reaction for this. C OH minus. What happens? Again the same thing. So if you take NaOH, that would be even good. So instead of writing just OH minus, you write NaOH. NaOH is a good base. So here we do not have alpha hydrogens. That's why we have replaced this carbon with 3 methyl groups. We have replaced the hydrogens of that carbon with 3 methyl groups. Why? What's the reason for this? What was the reason for this? We have replaced all the hydrogens of this carbon with methyls, and then we are including that in the example of K0. What was the reason for that? Why? Because if we have a hydrogen here, that will undergo aldol. There is no chance to undergo acid plus alcohol. Noting down or not? Now I'll give a reaction. Is it clear? Yes. So now take another example. So we are taking another example. We are taking this compound CCl3CHO. CCl3CHO or chloral. We are treating with NaOH. So what should be our product? So it should be an acid plus alcohol. This is our expected product. That's all. The product what we expect is this one. Similarly, if we place all the phenyl groups here, instead of methyl, if you place the phenyl groups like this and treat the same reaction with NaOH, what are the products? What are the products we expect? So everyone should write down this. CPH, PH, C double bond O minus Na plus PH, C, PH, PH stands for phenyl group, COH, H and H. Okay. So these are different examples. The first example is the benzaldehyde. The second example. So what we have done is CH2CHO. We have replaced all the hydrogens of CH3 with CMe. So 3 methyl groups are replaced with the presence of 3 hydrogens, so that the reaction cannot occur in the aldol way. So we want this reaction to be undergoing the K0 part. So that's why we have done this replacement, and the reaction is proceeded. Similarly, instead of methyl, in the third example we have replaced with chlorine, and in the fourth example we have replaced with phenyl groups. Here, so if we start the reaction with this compound, CH3, C double bond of H, here as we have alpha hydrogens, that will simply undergo aldol, no point of K0, it will never undergo, because the removal of this hydrogen is quite simple than this H, which is directly attached to the opponent. Okay. Now the question is, so if we replace this hydrogen with different groups, then it can undergo K0 because there are no hydrogens. If these hydrogens of acetaldehyde are replaced with different groups, like second, third, and fourth examples, In the second example, we have replaced them with methyl groups. In the third example, we have replaced those 3 hydrogens with chlorines. The fourth with the phenyl. Okay. But if we replace with methyl groups, there is no problem. This reaction will undergo, and these are the products. This is correct. The second reaction is correct. First reaction is obviously correct. First reaction is obviously correct because we have a direct phenyl group. But when you look at the third and fourth reactions, these reactions will never undergo. Right on this point. It's an exception to chemical reaction. So if you have CCl3 groups or CPH3 groups, they will never undergo Kenizaro reaction. They will never undergo. So let's clear this. Use the numbering here. So this is 3 and 4. Okay. CCl3CHO and CPH3CHO will never undergo Kenizaro. Although they do not have hydrogens. Although they do not have alpha hydrogens, not hydrogens. Instead of hydrogens, we write alpha hydrogens. CCl3CHO and CPH3CHO, you may simply think that they do not have alpha hydrogens, so they should undergo Kenizaro, but they will never undergo Kenizaro reaction. We look into the reason. Although they do not have alpha hydrogens, why they will never undergo Kenizaro reaction? For that, we again go back to the mechanism part and analyze. First, to write on this. That was an exceptional case. Although CCl3CHO and CPH3CHO do not have alpha hydrogens, they will never undergo Kenizaro reaction. The reason? Can I expect reason from you? Just look at the mechanism, it will be very clear for you. Just look at the mechanism. You can easily understand that from the mechanism. What Namita, what was your answer? Ajay, Aniket, Sai Charan. I want answers from everyone. Yes, Ajay has a question. Why can't the OH minus attack the Cl? How is it possible, Ajay? Cl is also negative in charge, OH is also negative in charge. Negative attack can occur or not? Will it occur? No. Obviously. The carbon of chlorine, what do you indirectly mean is, why can't the OH minus attack the carbon of chlorine? That's what, right? Your question? So we look at it. First, you complete this. So you should answer that, Ajay, because we have 3 chlorines. 3 chlorines, each chlorine has one pair. So I think you can answer that question. Yeah, the question itself is that why we cannot undergo Kenizaro reaction. Aniket, the question was why that particular molecule which do not have alpha hydrogens, why it cannot undergo Kenizaro. So what Ajay is saying is this carbon and chlorine bond is polar because chlorine is more electronegative when compared to carbon. So OH minus, why can't attack this carbon? So the obvious answer is because we have 3 chlorine atoms, we will have more repulsions. This also steric factor is the first factor, obviously, because we have 3 chlorine atoms and this carbon is sp3 hybridized. So these 3 chlorines and this carbon will be arranged in the form of tetrahedron. Now the OH minus should come and attack this carbon which is in the center of the tetrahedron. So in its path, it will obviously experience repulsions. Let me erase this. So again, if there is any mistake, you go to the mechanism, simply go to the mechanism, write to the mechanism. Okay? Cl, C, Cl, Cl, C double bond O, H. So now we have OH minus. So here, this pi electron density movement is fast when compared to the sigma electron density. Look at the reasons, Ajay. Here we have C double bond O group. Oxygen is also electronegative when compared to carbon. So, but here the movement is because of pi electron density. Pi electron density can move faster. So this partial charges generated will be faster, will be more. The partial charges generated here will be more. Why? Because the charges are generated because of the movement of pi electron density. Whereas in CCl, we have a sigma electron density movement. Sigma electron density movement. Although we have steric repulsions. But instead, if you have one chlorine, there are two possible attacks. OH minus can also attack this carbon. If you have only one chlorine atom. But comparatively, we can say this carbon is electrophilic and the OH minus can easily attack this carbon. So what happens now? Cl, C, Cl, Cl, C, O minus, OH, H. That's all now. Now oxygen, negative charge on oxygen is not that stable because that negative charge comes into, we again have C double bond O. So this negative charge comes into, as soon as that negative charge comes, here what should be our step? As soon as this negative charge comes into, the hydride ion should leave. The hydride ion should leave, that should attack the second molecule. Look at the mechanism. As soon as the negative charge comes, the hydride ion should leave. The hydride ion should leave and we will get this type of acid and H minus. But this hydride ion leaving will never occur. This will never occur. Why? Because when compared to hydride ion, the CCl3 group will leave fast. When this comes, when O minus comes, CCl3 group itself leaves because that CCl3 group, if it leaves, carbon has negative charge. It is having 3 chlorine atoms. It can easily abstract the H plus ion from the solution and form chloroform. So we have C double bond O. H will be as it is, OH will be present, plus CCl3 minus. So as CCl3 is a better leaving group when compared to hydride ion. When compared to hydride ion, CCl3 was a better leaving group. CCl3 was a better leaving group. So now this CCl3 can easily pick up this proton. So what are the products of this reaction? This reaction occurred in this way. The first reaction will never occur. Okay. So now this C minus will pick up this proton to form CHCl3 plus HC double bond O minus, and if you take NaOH, we have Na plus. Instead of O minus, if you write NaOH, so this will be the form product. This will be the form product. Yes or no? So CCl3 group leaves and forms chloroform. Chloroform will be formed when we treat chloral with NaOH. Chloral with NaOH. That reaction leads to the formation of chloroform. But this structure cannot be regained like this. We cannot get this kind of acid. We cannot get this kind of acid because CCl3 was a better leaving group. The same exception is valid even for CPH3. CPH3 is also a better leaving group. So we have CHPH3. Okay, instead of chloroform, we can have 3 phenyls and carbon and hydrogen. So CCl3 and write down statements. You write the statements. Exceptional statement. Exceptions. CCl3CHO and CPH3CHO will never undergo Kenizaro. Will never undergo Kenizaro because CCl3 and CPH3, not CPH, right? CCl3 minus and CPH3 minus are better leaving groups. When compared to H minus. When compared to hydradon. When compared to hydradon. So that was an exceptional case. You can simply remember that, or you can, if you know the mechanism, you can have a good analysis. If you want to just remember, you can remember that. What is Logish? Is this clear or not? What I say? Understood? This it. So now we can deal with the second type of reaction. Now we can deal with the second type of reaction. Let me erase this top part because this statement is also written here down. Second type of reaction is haloform reaction. Haloform reaction. So you need to work out a lot of examples from this Canzero and Aldol because questions are very familiar from this topic in the JEE. You may not expect a direct question, but in the reaction sequence, you may have interlinking. Like usually what they give is, they'll start in alkene, and that alkene they will treat with ozonolysis. They will do the ozonolysis. So they can generate carbonyls. Those carbonyls they will undergo aldol. So first they will break the 6-membered ring, and again they will make the 6-membered ring using intramolecular aldol. Such questions are more familiar. Okay. Vishwamshi, noted or not? Okay, let me erase this. Haloform reaction. So these are called Neal reaction. Okay. Methyl ketones, that is which have C double bond of CH3 group, will react with halogens, in the presence of base, to form methyl ketones. C double bond of CH3 will react with halogens in the presence of base to form corresponding haloforms. And hence the name of this reaction is haloform reaction. Hence the name of this reaction is haloform reaction. So what was the mechanistic part? So like R C double bond or CH3. C double bond or CH3 group is most essential. If we do not have this group, those compounds will never undergo haloform reaction. Like if you have an aldehyde, that will never undergo. Like CH3, CH2, CHO. Aldehydes will never undergo haloform reaction. We require this group. We require this group. And even this is important for JEE. Okay. The last questions. So, which of the following will react with halogen and base? They will give different compounds and should figure out which will react. So we can have 3 moles of X2. X is any halogen and 4 moles of any OH. You get haloform. Haloform, what is haloform? CHH3. CHH3 plus acid. So corresponding acid will be formed. Corresponding acid will be formed. So what was the mechanism? We'll look into it. Mechanism is quite simple. Mechanism was quite simple. R C double bond or CH3. R C double bond or CH3. We all know we have a carbon double bond oxygen. Carbon double bond oxygen. Oxygen is more electronegative when compared to carbon. So the pi electron density moves towards oxygen. So this carbon gets partial positive charge. So this carbon gets partial positive charge. Again, it is attached to the another carbon. So this carbon has partial positive charge and it is attached to the other carbon by sharing of 2 electrons. Electrons are negative in charge, so those electrons will try to move towards the electrophilic carbon. It is obvious. So the shared electron density between 2 carbons will now move towards the carbon of carbonyl group. Carbon of carbonyl group. Because of this shared electron movement, this carbon gets partial positive. This partial positive is even lower when compared to this positive charge. The charge on this carbon is even lower. Okay, because of the partial positive charge on adjacent carbon, the CH bond becomes weaker. The CH bond becomes weaker. Initially, the CH bond is strongest. When compared to CC bond also, CH is strongest. But because of this presence of C double bond O, the alpha carbon and the hydrogen attached to that particular carbon, that bond is weakened. It is not broken by itself. It was just weakened. Okay? It becomes weaker. But if we add a base like NaOH, if we add a base NaOH, what NaOH will do? OH minus ion, it will simply pick up this hydrogen because it is an alpha hydrogen similar to aldol. It is an alpha hydrogen. So that alpha hydrogen will be picked up by base to form RC double bond O CHH. As this hydrogen is lost, this carbon gets negative charge. This carbon gets negative charge. The first step is same with respect to aldol. In the second step, we have X2. X is chlorine, bromine, iodine. X may be anything. X2, Cl2. X2 may be Cl2. X2 may be Br2. X2 may be I2. It is same. So if we take X2 as X and X, so this negatively charged carbon, this nucleophilic carbon, will now try to attack one of the chlorine, one of the halogen. Not only chlorine, it may be bromine or iodine. It may be bromine or iodine. But if you look at this X2 bond, X2 is nothing but 2 halogen atoms forming a bond. Yes or no? Cl2, 2 chlorine atoms sharing 2 electrons. Because both are chlorine atoms, there won't be any movement between this bond. Because both are chlorines, there won't be any electronegative difference. So the shared electron density will never move. It will be present at the center. So there is no partial charges generated. But because of this external factor, because of this nucleophile will attack one of the halogen and X minus will be formed. RC double bond O CHH X plus X minus. The polarity is induced in the halogen molecule because of an external species. Initially, the halogen molecule is never polar. It is non-polar because both are halogen atoms. No movement of shared electron density. There is no movement of the electron density because no electron into difference. Because of this externally negative charge, which will attract this, because of this external factor, polarity is induced and the bond is broken. So we have how many hydrogens again? If you look at initial compound HCH3, one hydrogen is removed by OH and that is replaced by, that is attacked by X halogen. And again we have two more hydrogens. So we require two more OH minus ions and two more H2. Yes or no? Here one H2 molecule is used. One bromine and one chlorine molecule is already used in the first step to obtain this product. Again we have two more hydrogens here. If you have two more OH minus ions and two other halogen molecules, all the hydrogens would be replaced by halogens. Number of hydrogens present. All those hydrogen bonds are weaker. All the hydrogen bonds are CH bonds are weaker because of the presence of this carbonyl. Initially we have a carbonyl, so CH bond becomes weaker. But in this molecule, CH bond is even weaker because of this carbonyl this is weakened. Because of the CH bond also, this carbon has partial positive. Again the bond is weakened more and more. So if you use two more OH minus and in the presence of two other molecules of X2, we will get this type of species. R C double bond of CXXX. Okay. So if you look at the reaction, three moles of X2 are used. 3 moles of X2 are utilized already. One X2 here in the first step, two more X2 to remove all the hydrogens. So this part is done, but you are using 4 moles of NaOH. But up to now only 3 moles of OH minus are used. The next mole of OH minus is attacked now. Again, Ajay has asked a question. Why can't the OH minus attack this carbon? Because carbon halogen bond is polar. Why can't this OH minus attack this carbon? It cannot because of steric repulsions. And here the pi electron density is moving. Okay, there are two factors. Steric repulsions will be the major criteria. So the OH minus will now try to attack this carbon. So what will end up with? RCO minus OH CXXX. Okay. X is any halogen atom. Now the O minus is not that stable. This O minus comes into, and we have already seen CCl3 group is a good leaving group. Okay, so CCl3 that will leave to form RC double bond O, OH plus CH3 minus. This CH3 minus will pick up this hydrogen. The final product would be like this: RC double bond O ONA plus CHH3. So this will be the final product. RC double bond O ONA is a salt of acids. A respective acid will be formed. Here RC double bond O CH3 get taken. So what's the product? RCONA. If you don't want Na, if you want an acid directly, then what you can do? You can do this reaction in the presence of slightly H+. If you do that reaction in the presence of slightly H+, light acidic medium, and this acidic medium should be low. If it is high, the base will directly react with the acids. Okay, there are many things. The base NaOH, if we perform this reaction in the presence of H+, how we should perform? We should first perform this reaction and in the last step you should add H plus. In the final step you should add H plus. If you initially add acid, then acid and base will react. Why this much risk to react with the organic molecule? There is no necessity, right? So acid base reaction occurs. So if you want to add the any acid HCl or HBr, you should do that at the final step. Clear? So those are the products. So if you treat with H plus, then you will get respect to RCOO minus H, that is acid. But we don't want that. We can simply treat with this H2 and NaOH, so we will get RCOONA. RCOONA. So final steps of this reaction would be RCOONA, it was an acid and it is a halo form. CHH3 is called halo form. CHH3 is called halo form. If X is chlorine, CHCl3, chloroform. If X is bromine, CHBr3, it is known as bromoform. If X is iodine, CHI3, it's known as iodoform. I think you have seen questions regarding iodoform. So they will give some set of products, some set of options, and ask the question which of the following may undergo iodoform reaction. All you need to do is to check the compound which has C double bond of CH3 groups. Okay, so there are compounds which undergo iodoform, chloroform or bromoform reactions. So as a whole, this reaction is known as haloform reaction. As a whole, this reaction is known as haloform reaction. Everything clear? Are you understanding the concept or not? So these are very crucial concepts. Okay. Okay, very good. What about others? Rina, are you there in the class? Pranav Sai, Krishnamshi, Gayatri, Chetan, Anirudh, yes, Krishnamshi, Rina, Chetan, good. Niket, good. Fine. Note down this reaction. Take a minute and note down this reaction. We'll see the last reaction of carbonates. Last reaction. The last reaction is known as Wittig reaction. The last reaction of carbonyl compounds is known as Wittig reaction. Wittig reagent is a special reagent. Noted, right? So write down. So the last reaction is known as Wittig reaction. Wittig reaction. So Wittig. So what does this reaction say? Everyone noted or not? Okay, fine. So carbonyl compounds when reacted with Wittig reagent, they will directly form alkenes. Alkenes will be formed directly. Okay. So what do you mean by Wittig reagents? You should know that. So you are saying the name is good, Wittig reaction. So again you said carbonyl compounds when reacted with Wittig reagents. What is Wittig reagent? Wittig reagent. So it is an organophosphorus compound. So it is an organophosphorus compound. So you have seen organometallic like Grignard reagent RMGX, dialkyl cadmium, R2C, Cg2, R2Cg, dialkyl, R2Cg, dialkyl cadmium, RMGX, Grignard reagent, but it was a different kind of compound known as organophosphorus compound. It is generally like, its general structure will be like, so we have phosphorus. P is known as phosphorus and 3 phenyl groups will be attached. We have carbon. This phosphorus has positive charge. This carbon has negative charge. There are alkyl groups R1 and R2. So this is the general structure of Wittig reagent. So the phenyl groups of phosphorus can be replaced by. So this is phosphorus. Phosphorus has positive charge, and that phosphorus is attached with 3 phenyls. Phosphorus is directly attached with carbon. Carbon is nucleophilic here because phosphorus is less electronegative when compared to carbon. So carbon has negative charge. In the presence of R1 and R2. The presence of R1 and R2 means any alkyl groups. But how we can generate this reagent? So up to now we are just dealing with the reagents. So let us look at the reaction and then see how we can generate this reagent. Reaction will be like this. Reaction. So if you take carbonyl R dash, C double bond O, R double dash. R1 and R2 are already used here. So that's why I'm using R dash and R double dash. This can be hydrogen as well. Okay. So when we deal with Wittig reagent, P, PH, phosphorus has positive, carbon has negative, R1 and R2. What happens is the C double bond O will be lost, and it will be directly forming a double bond with R dash, C double bond C, R double dash. This carbon has R1 and R2. Plus POPH3 plus POPH3. This will be lost. Plus P double bond O PH3. So this will be our product. Alkene. Of course, you want the mechanism, right? If I say something, no one will believe. We should say mechanism. But remember, the mechanism of Wittig reaction is quite typical. It is not as easy as you think. Okay. But you first know how to write the product. Simply, whatever the Wittig reagent you have, that is any substituent which is directly attached to phosphorus. PPH3 group, any substituent, like if you have carbon R1, R2, or carbon 2 phenyls here, these R1, R2 can be replaced by phenyls as well. Okay, so this carbon which is directly attached to phosphorus, that will form a double bond with the carbon of carbonyl. This is a carbon of carbonyl, and this is a carbon which is attached to phosphorus. And this phosphorus will directly attach with oxygen. P double bond O PH3 will be formed. P double bond O PH3 will be formed. Okay, so alkene will be the major product. So there are 3 steps in the Wittig reaction. There are Wittig in the 3 steps in the Wittig reaction. So the first step is to synthesize Wittig reagents. Wittig reagents are not available like this in the market. We need to synthesize them. How we can synthesize them? Synthesis of Wittig reagents. The first step, SN2 reaction of PPH3 with alkyl halide. Okay. So that alkyl halide to form phosphonium salt. So when SN2 reaction of PPH3 occurs with alkyl halide, we get a phosphonium salt. You get phosphonium salt. The second step, deprotonation of phosphonium salts. Deprotonation of phosphonium salts in the presence of base. Write down this. First you write down this. Once you write the reaction, then everything will be clear. Once we write the reaction, everything will be clear. Written? So note down fast. Today we want to complete this reaction. Hardly take 10 minutes. That's it. Don't worry. SN2 reaction of PPH3 with alkyl halide to get phosphonium salts. That phosphonium salt will be treated with base to deprotonate. And we generally use stronger bases like butyl lithium, phenyl lithium. So we generally use stronger bases like butyl lithium and phenyl lithium to perform deprotonation. This Wittig reaction mechanism is also important, like in the passage questions of JEE Advanced. So they may ask this Wittig reaction, they may ask the intermediate. Okay. So there are few passage questions as well, right? In the JEE Advanced. There you can expect such type of questions. Voted or not? What Anirudh? Mamita? Manimohan, are you there? Yes, Anirudh, Mamita, good. So now, write the reaction. So how will they get Wittig reagent? So PPH3 is our initial substrate. So we will treat that with alkyl halide like RCH2X, or we say chlorine. Instead of R, we can say CH3, CH2Cl. CH3, CH2Cl. What happens? Phosphorus has a lone pair. This carbon chlorine bond is polar because chlorine is more electronegative. Chlorine gets negative charge. Carbon is electropositive when compared to chlorine, so it will have positive charge. So now the lone pair of phosphorus attacks this carbon. So we get what? CH3, CH2, PPH3. As the lone pair of phosphorus is utilized in the bond formation, so you have positive charge here, and Cl minus will be lost. Cl minus will be in the reactive mixture. So this is known as phosphonium salts. This is known as phosphonium salt. Why they call it a salt? Because the Cl minus will be surrounding this. This Cl minus will be surrounding this particular molecule, like NaCl, Na plus and Cl minus. It's a salt. Similarly, we have a positively charged species and Cl minus is there. So it is called phosphonium because the positive charge is present on phosphorus. It was the first step. In the second step, we do the deprotonation of phosphonium salts in the presence of base. And base, so you can write bases will be CH3, CHH, P positive, PH3. So the base, whatever using base, this base will pick up this proton. Why only this proton? Phosphorus has positive charge. So this electron density try to move towards phosphorus. Look at the same logic again. Like same logic what we have discussed in order condensation. The phosphorus has positive charge here. The electron density moves towards phosphorus. So this carbon gets partially positive charge. This carbon gets partially positive charge. So this CH bond becomes weaker. CH bond becomes weaker. And we have a base. So base picks up the proton which is from the alpha carbon. Base picks up the proton from the alpha carbon. What happens now is CH3, CH, PPH3. Here we have positive charge. Carbon has a negative charge. Copper has a negative charge. That's all. No. Is this a Wittig reagent? Look at the initial page. When we have written the definition, we have written the same thing like C, R1, R2, and PPH3. We have written like this. PPH3. Phosphorus is positive and carbon is negative in charge. Carbon is negative in charge. But the molecule as a whole, this Wittig reagent as a whole is neutral. Right on the step. Right on that step. Here, bases used will be butyl lithium, or phenyl lithium, or any other strong bases, because the removal of H can be done easily, strong bases, and Wittig reagent as a whole, is neutral in nature. Okay. So now what we need to do? We know what is Wittig reagent, we know how we can synthesize that Wittig reagent, and we know the reaction. The only thing left is a mechanism. So we'll see the mechanism today. So please bear for 5 more minutes. Okay, we cannot leave it like this in the middle. I need 5 more minutes. The mechanism part will be simple. We have CH3, C double bond O, CH3, right? O minus, carbon plus. So this positively charged carbon will be attacked with same thing you take CH3, C minus H, PPH3, here phosphorus as positive. Whatever the carbon we have here, which is negatively charged, that will attack this electrophilic carbon. This step would be same. We will get CH3, C, CH3, CCH3. This is attacked with carbon. This is attacked with carbon. Okay. This carbon again attached with CH3 and H. This carbon again attached with CH3 and H. And also PPH3. And also PPH3. Phosphorus has positive charge. That is as it is. Phosphorus has positive charge. That was as it is. Carbon negative charge and this carbon positive charge. They were utilized in the bond formation. So we can remove the charges. And only one thing left is O minus. The only thing left is O minus. Okay. So this O minus will now try to attack the positively charged phosphorus. O minus will now try to attack this positively charged phosphorus to get a four-member ring structure. To get a four-member ring structure. Four-member ring structure. CH, CH3. Now what is this? PPH3. O. Oxygen has negative charge, phosphorus has positive charge. So four-member ring structure is formed. As soon as this structure is formed, four-member ring structure will have a lot of ring strain. And the P double bond O is a very strong bond. So it undergoes cleavage immediately. So this bond cleaves, this bond comes in two. So why this step is initiated? The four-member ring structure is formed because of there are charges, positive and negative charges again are present. So four-member ring structure will be formed. But that four-member ring structure will be cleaved immediately. That four-member ring structure will be cleaved immediately. CH3, CH3. So we have a double bond here. We have a double bond. This double bond is attached with C. Okay. This carbon is attached with hydrogen and Cl3. This carbon attached with hydrogen and Cl3. And P double bond O, PH3 will be formed. P double bond O, PH3 will be formed. So the reaction proceeds through a four-member ring structure. The reaction mechanism proceeds through four-member ring structure. Four-member ring structure. And this is the product of that reaction, alkene. Our alkene is the product of that reaction. Is it clear? So the mechanism of Wittig reaction proceeds through four-member ring structure. So through that four-member ring structure, it has a ring strain, so it cleaves immediately to form P double bond O. Again, not only the ring strain, P double bond O is very strong. P double bond O, phosphorus double bond oxygen will have a good overlap. So this reaction will be, that is the driving force of this last step. So alkane will be formed immediately, and we have this compound. Okay, and you look at the initial step, first step of the reaction. CH3, C double bond CH3. What I have told you, whenever we are treating this with this particular species, we simply attach double bond with this carbon, C double bond C, CH3H, C double bond C, CH3H. So if you want to write the product, you write the product directly, no problem in that. For mains level, you never require the. For mains level, you never require the reaction mechanism. But for advanced level, they will ask questions from the reactive intermediates as well. For JEE Advanced, you may expect questions from the reaction intermediate as well. They may ask if we will proceed to 5-membered or 4-membered or 3-membered ring structure. Okay, they may ask which is the nucleophile, how the nucleophile is generated. Such type of questions can be asked in the JEE Advanced. Okay, be prepared for all kinds of examinations. Okay. So this was completely known as Wittig reaction. Now we can look at many examples. We can look at a lot of examples. Okay. So this is the end of carbonates completely. So tomorrow we'll start with carboxylic acid. As we have already told, we start with the preparation and next properties. We'll start with preparation for tomorrow, and then we can discuss the properties. Is it clear? Understood or not? These may be difficult to understand, but You practice this, then it will be clear. Fine. This is the end of lecture. Thank you.